Hello, patrons. It's Thursday, October 6th, and this is your Cup of Jones. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my backyard. I've gone as far out of the garage as I possibly can, as far as the cables will let me go. And I set up a little fire here. I got my Cup of Jones, thanks to Miss Kaylee Murdoch. Gave me a new cup that actually says Cup of Jones on it, so this is as official of a Cup of Jones, I believe, as you'll currently find. And as promised, this is a more editorial-focused episode of Cup of Jones. I don't want to talk too much about the Allies. Fun things going on. New Game Sleuth in production. Read the script. It's currently being edited. You'll get that soon. Really good episode. Ben Moore is producing his own show called Tales from the East. First episode is due any minute now. And lots of other fun stuff. The end of the year's coming up. Game of the Year awards, PSX, all that stuff. But we can get into that later. I want to talk about nature. I want to talk about the great outdoors. I want to talk about camping. I want to talk about hiking. I want to talk about going to the beach. I want to talk about getting out of the house. And I can't unfortunately go camping with all of you at the same time. And so what I can do is I can set up a fire here in my backyard. It's kind of a warm Cup of Jones, been nice and toasty. Thankfully, it is a rather chilly evening here in Southern California. We don't get many of those, at least at this time of year. So happy to have you with me. Let's talk about nature. So I did a lot of camping in my youth. I was a scout, got all the way to Eagle Scout, went on several long-term hikes. Long-term meaning you hike more than one day. So you hike somewhere, camp there, and then keep on hiking. You don't just hike back to the car. You go on a specific route, and you go to different stations or campsites. And thankfully, I grew up in California, and there's a lot of good hiking, a lot of good nature trails here that are just outside of the city. And if you go a little further than that, 2 hours, 3 hours, you're in Mammoth Mountain, you're in Mountain High, you're up in Idlewild. I mean, there's just a lot of Topanga Canyon is just like an hour, 30 minutes away, and all of a sudden you feel like you're in Utah. Like there's a lot of crazy places in California. And so as a young lad, I definitely got exposed to a lot of nature. And so I feel very fortunate in that regard. So I don't know, what type of natural environment is around you, if that is a desert, if that is a forest, if you're up in the mountains, if you're like me, more on ocean level. Hopefully I don't light on fire during this episode. That would be exciting, though, to catch on tape. But I encourage you to get out, because one of the things that I noticed, I just recently got back from the Grand Canyon, and I had never been to the Grand Canyon before. And the Grand Canyon in and of itself is an absolutely fantastic thing. But and granted, I did start thinking about Red Dead Redemption while obviously I was looking at the canyon, but especially when we were driving back, we were up in the North Rim, Amanda and myself, and this is north and south. We went back this way around the bottom to head back to Los Angeles, and so we basically went around the east side and put some good tunes on to fit the kind of country laid-back Americana vibe, and it's the scale of, it's the style of Red Dead, but the scale is completely off the charts. I mean, when you play something like Red Dead Redemption, which, as you might know, is one of my favorite games, it does a fantastic job of not only encapsulating this massive environment, but making it accessible at the same time, letting you travel to a lot of places that you can see in the distance. But the actual Wild West, the real Wild West, it just goes on forever. I mean, it's just an ocean of dirt and cacti and crazy wild animals, and just looking at that, just even from the car. I mean, even like being in the car and driving, 5 or 6 hours, through Nevada and through California, improved Red Dead Redemption the next time I went back and played it, which I've been streaming most every Thursday night. And so I encourage you, if you like games, if you're a fan of a Resident Evil, I encourage you to go camping out in the woods. If you like that Friday the 13th, if you like Uncharted, obviously it's not the cheapest thing in the world to go to Costa Rica, but I encourage you to find some tropical environment and check it out. Obviously, that's everybody's goal, to find a tropical environment. So, again, I don't want to discourage people that don't live in what are, more traditional natural environments. But even just going out and taking a walk, even just, smelling the air in different parts of the world, different parts of your world, get up to high elevations and smell how fresh the air is. And especially now that we're getting into VR, we just got the Vive set up, and, the preloaded right in there is free software that can just send you to the top of a mountain, and you can just pop over to all these locations and just take hold of the environment in. And if you haven't been to a place like that, if you haven't at least climbed up to near the top of a mountain, or even a hill, or just hiked somewhere and experienced, how drastically nature can change depending on different elevations, and how your body feels after you've hiked for 2 hours, and just all these things that our ancestors just knew. And so that's what's fun about, again, to plug Red Dead, to go back and play these games and imagine like how grueling it must have been to build a railroad, to ride on a horse for 8 days straight, and to live off the land. So I wouldn't consider myself living off the land. I'm sitting on concrete right now, and I'm recording into a camera with lights and everything set up. This is about as natural of a setup as I could do. But there are things that I want to say on Cup of Jones. There are things, love and respect, obviously being first and foremost, but there are things that I want to communicate, given this opportunity to speak to our 5,000 patrons, our 18,000 people following us on Twitch, and our 72,000 people following us on YouTube. And one of them is be healthy. Get out into the world as much as you can. Do me a favor if you can. If you want to do something nice for Jones, if you can't, donate to Patreon, or you can't donate as much as you want to, or you don't get a chance to watch a lot of our stuff or support us in the ways that you want. Support yourself and find a good trail. Find a different. One of the reasons I love open world games is to get a unique perspective on one individual environment and see it from a lot of different angles. And you can do that with where you live. That's how The Legend of Zelda was born. Shigeru Miyamoto just wandered out in the woods and fantasized about how he could translate these childhood experiences into video game form. And if you get out and you see a squirrel or a bird or something, out of the ordinary, and see and just, try to get experience on how that animal lives, how life, goes on outside of these bustling city environments that we spend so much time in. So, if you can, get out and exhaust yourself a little bit for me, and find a peak somewhere, find some overcrop looking at your city, or looking at some place you've never been before. Take it in, then go back and play games, and I promise you they will be better. Lord knows my life has been a lot better thanks to all the support that I've gotten on Patreon. So thanks to all of you again for your very patient attitude towards the production of Cup of Jones. Hopefully this is fire is almost out. Hopefully this is a somewhat unusual episode that you'll appreciate, that it's not going to be the same thing every time. Have some other fun ideas for episodes coming up. So let me know what you think about me doing weird episodes like this. As I said, leave questions for the next Cup of Jones, and get out there and see the natural world. Thanks for watching, everybody. Cheers.